Okay, obviously there are no sounds in manga. Unlike anime, which is a medium that combines both visuals and audio to entertain us, manga is only a visual medium. The most noise you'll get out from manga is the sound of a physical page turning. That being said, we can still convey sound in manga. How do we do this? The first method is with speech bubbles. We understand that, in real life, when we speak, sound is generated. The same is true in manga, and we use speech bubbles as a symbol to tell the reader that a sound is being emitted. But there's more to speech bubbles than being an indicator that a sound is being emitted. We can also distort the properties of the speech bubble itself to convey things such as emotions, tone, and volume. You have your basic, round speech bubble. This is usually when characters speak at a normal volume or calmly. Then you have your jagged speech bubble, which is when the noise is loud. You see this all the time in battle manga, since they're always yelling at each other when fighting. There's also a speech bubble for whispers or side conversations at a lower volume, usually depicted with a dotted speech bubble or a lack of a speech bubble. These techniques are the most common ones you see in manga, I'd argue. I'm not going to go through every single example in history, but NoonaNano on Twitter did a pretty good study on the speech bubbles that you'd most likely encounter when reading manga. It's a great reference and will help you understand how speech bubbles can help convey emotions, regardless of the text inside of them. A rule I generally like to use is this. If my dialogue isn't normal or casual, can I alter the speech bubble to help emphasize the emotions or mood that I want to convey? And if I can do that, what is the best way to convey that feeling? And don't be afraid to get creative with it. If there's a technique that does fit what you're trying to convey, such as a character yelling so you use a jagged speech bubble, then go ahead and use it. But if you have an idea that is risky or isn't traditional, then do it. As long as the reader can understand what is happening, your creative risk will pay off. Okay, so we know that a sound is being emitted, but how do we know what sound is being emitted? That's usually conveyed by the text within the speech bubble. In real life, we interpret these sounds as a language. In manga, it's kind of in reverse, where we see the language or text first, and then, in our head, we interpret that into the sound of speech. Now, the text is just a bare minimum to conveying what sound is being made. We can also adjust the properties of the text to help further convey emotions. The words are said in an intimidating tone? Use a scary font. The words are said loud? Make them bold. The words are said in a mocking tone? Change the size of the characters every now and then. As long as the text is readable, play around with it until you're able to convey the sounds and emotions that you want. Sometimes though, the text doesn't translate into a language that we can interpret in real life. Instead, the text is an assortment of characters or symbols meant to sound like a noise. Onomatopoeias, in other words. Boom, whoosh, meow. Sometimes, onomatopoeias are the best way to describe sound effects in manga. And just like regular words, you can adjust the properties of the onomatopoeia text to help convey the sound even more, such as making booms or explosion sound effects text echo. Basically, sound, when it comes to manga, is a pretty abstract concept. Thankfully, conveying sound in a soundless medium is pretty simple. A lot of it relies on the text describing the sound being emitted, but you can also use shape language on speech bubbles to help with it. I also would encourage, because it's somewhat of an abstract concept in manga specifically, that you should experiment, push your limits, and take risks with conveying sound in your manga. Remember, as long as it's readable for your audience, you can get away with unorthodox methods in your manga. Okay, go draw now.